Hello. Hello. Happy Chinese New Year. Happy solar eclipse. Happy new moon in Aquarius. I guess I'll jump right in because I feel like I don't want to be on here long. And I really just am going live to share my thoughts on my meditation this morning. And it was helpful to me, so I'm sharing. So in case it's helpful to someone else. This morning I was meditating, and what came up was past life, present power, and it just kept repeating. And usually when I meditate, I don't try to decipher what it means or try to figure it out. I'll just continue meditating, and then afterwards I'll journal and figure out or translate whatever it meant. And so, hey Bree. So I was meditating and I kept hearing past life, present power. And so once I started journaling, what came up, backtrack. So if you didn't know, I do past life regressions. And whenever I do a past life regression and someone does actually regress to a past life, because not everybody regresses to a past life. Sometimes you regress to current life memories, but typically if you regress to a past life, it is so that you can see what's happening in your current life and the root of it is in a different life, or a different timeline, should I say. And it helps you detach from what's happening for you currently. What I've noticed is if you go to a past life and you have experienced something traumatic in a past life, you can see the correlation of how that's still showing up. And so then you can kind of detach from the heaviness of how it's showing up, because you know that it's not rooted here. It's rooted in a different timeline. And so it's helpful because it allows you to emotionally process from a higher perspective than feeling like it's so deeply rooted now. And I'll probably talk about that in a different live or a different time. But what it pertains to today, so I was journaling and I was just thinking about all of the things that I've been going through. The last couple of weeks have been extremely heavy. Hey, lady. Extremely heavy and just emotionally chaotic. I feel like the past year as a whole has been heavy, and I've had to detach from a lot of relationships, a lot of ways of thinking, a lot of ways of showing up. But in particular, these last few weeks, the last month has just been really, really ghetto. And during my meditation, it was just like, oh, I get why all of these things are happening. And so how it pertains to today is the new moon, it's the eclipse. Hey, Leisha Pisha. And it's the new moon in Aquarius. And so all of those things combined, Aquarius is the sign and is ruled by Uranus. And so Aquarius is all about innovation and rebellion and changing the pattern. And so whenever I do past life regressions and people see a pattern and be able to see the root of what they're dealing with now, because I was saying basically whenever people do past life regressions, it's never to really see what was happening in that past life. It's more so to see how it's still affecting you now. And if you could see how it's affecting you now, you can detach from the pattern of feeling like it's so deeply rooted in what's happening for you now. You can process it from a place of detachment and see it from a higher perspective. And I think that's important with today's astrology of actually, what am I choosing today? If I can acknowledge the pattern, I can interrupt it. Because a lot of the times we can't really heal because we can't acknowledge the pattern. And if the pattern existed prior to this lifetime, it's going to really be hard to see the pattern. Let me go. I definitely want to do a past life regression. I don't know when though. Why are you scared? A lot of people I think are scared of past life regressions because of what they'll see. But from my experience, it gives you a better perspective of what you're dealing with now. So it's not really scary to see what has happened because there's also a level of detachment from it. And also you usually also get to see something beautiful on the other side of it too. So like you might regress and see something traumatic, but I also like to go to different lifetimes to where you can also see maybe like your gifts or your blessings or like ancestral gifts, because I don't like to just focus on like the traumatic aspects of it. You also get to go and retrieve the things that you need in this lifetime to also empower you. I think it's good when you can detach from past life, but I also think the detachment isn't so much of what has happened. It's an embodiment of you being able to fully live out what has happened in the past. So like I think our past gives us our pattern recognition, but our present gives us our activation. So if you are no longer worried about your past, it's because you've already been able to embody the lessons of your past. If your past lives are still affecting you now, it's because you haven't fully processed and embodied them yet, from my opinion. I'm experiencing karma from something according to my natal chart reading. I think if you're experiencing karma, I think you can see it in your astro chart, but I also don't think that's going to help you heal it. So like, it's not going to really help you process the emotions behind it. You'll just kind of have like a level of awareness. And I think the level of an awareness is good, but what I love about past life regressions is it allows you to process the emotions attached to that timeline or that lifetime, because you get to process it from a place of detachment, but it also helps you now. So like an experience that I could relate that to is, for instance, I had this client, she in this present life she was healing through abandonment, but in a previous lifetime she is kind of traumatic, but she was killed by her husband and like left in the woods and was abandoned, and she was never found. And so in this lifetime she's still trying to feel that feeling of being found and being accepted, in a way of being able to fully process that death. And so it'll keep showing up until she's able to heal that. But how it's showing up now is just with her mom. But if she's able to heal the relationship with her mom, she's also able to heal that lifetime where she was killed. It's always really interesting to see like the root of what's happening for people. I think another experience, this just happened, and I made a video about how I think everybody kind of regresses to age 8, which is weird, but I understand why. Because not everybody regresses to a past life. Sometimes you'll regress to what has happened in this current life that you haven't fully been able to process and heal to. So like, I had a client regress to age 8, and she regressed to a time period where she found out her grandfather was sick, and she was thinking like, oh, maybe she has a hard time with grieving, but it wasn't the grief that she needed to heal through. It was the confusion. So like at age 8, nobody talked to her about her grandfather being sick or what was happening. And so it was confusion that was really triggering her, not the grief. I like age 8. A lot happened to me. Yeah, so I made a video saying like age 8 is special because we're still connected to our mother's nervous system up until age 7. And so we're not really processing our emotions fully. Our mom is still processing them. So once we become 8, we're kind of sovereign in our nervous system to where like now we're starting to process our own shit. And there's a lot of confusion in that. Like a lot of people go back to age 8 because they're confused and like, I don't know really what happened. And so, for me, age 8 and age 13 always comes up. I always have to go back to those ages. I recently did a regression for myself, probably like 6 months ago. Yeah, it was around my birthday. And it was healing through some shame. It's always an experience, a very random experience. So like even the client who went back to her grandpa, she wasn't thinking nothing about her grandpa. She was trying to heal through feeling confused about her business and uncertain about her business. But whenever she feels uncertainty or unclear about something, it also brings up grief for her because of that time period of grieving but also very confused. So now when she's confused, she also feels grief, which feels heavy when it really doesn't need to be. But I think it's a powerful way to heal through levels of shame and guilt and confusion in a way that a lot of people aren't talking about. Because in order to process those emotions, you got to go back to what caused them. Let me see what y'all talking about. Okay. But going back to, I guess, what I was talking about for today with the new moon in Aquarius, of being able to think about your patterns and what do you want to choose now. So like, okay, you know your family patterns, you know the patterns that you show up in, but it's like at this point you know enough to choose differently. I always like to say the experience you're having is the experience you need, but I don't know if you still need to have those same experiences if you know better. So it's a level of like maturity. And I think this goes back to like how we were talking about innocence and like reclaiming our inner child and being able to carry our inner child with us now today. Something else I thought about with that is like, okay, if you take back your innocence and you're able to show up in it, how do you show up in innocence without a level of naivete, if I'm saying that right? Or basically being naive. How do you have and hold on to your innocence without being naive? And I think only through pattern recognition can you have your innocence with maturity. Because I think holding on to your innocence also attracts a lot of narcissism. So like narcissists will seek out someone who still has their innocence because they don't have theirs, and they're like siphoning your energy and light. And so I was thinking about that of like, yes, I want to hold on to my innocence. And I think when I think about what people enjoy and also dislike about me is my innocence. And yeah, they'll exploit it. And I was thinking like, yes, I love this part about me, but I also hate what it brings. And so like, how can I hold on to this, but from a place of empowerment? And I think maturity of like, maturity shows us we have enough history and enough memory to trust people, to trust people of what they have already shown us. And like, I have enough memory to say, you don't deserve access to my innocence. Oh, thank you. I think what I have come to about myself, that it's either inspiring or it's triggering. And I always say people come to me for the same reasons. Either you like me because of like the truth that I hold, or you'll avoid me. And because I think just like with kids, innocence also comes with a level of truth. and being able to see people as they are and not as they want to be seen. And I think that's deeply triggering. And it goes back to, like, people say all day long, like, I want to be seen and, like, see me, until a part of you is seeing that you don't enjoy or you don't like or that you haven't fully accepted. And I feel like that's when it becomes triggering. So I was, feeling exposed. And I've been feeling like I like this aspect of me, but I also don't like what it brings. And I think discernment is heavily needed if you're going to hold on to your innocence. Because I think otherwise it's just going to get exploited. But I also think you need to have a certain level of memory and experience in order to gain that level of maturity. It can't be taught to you. I feel like it's protection, because as soon as you realize what's going on, you need to get away. Yeah, I think in that way, how I was saying the other day, like, you need to build a profile of, like, who's safe enough to experience your innocence. And I feel like that has been my weakness in a way of, like, because I see things from a certain perspective, and usually it's from a very, like, innocent and, like, loving perspective, that I'm assuming that other people mean well too. And it's like, no. Not everybody is thinking that way. And I think even when I'm expressing a level of truth, or like what has been happening with my sister, of, like, us being in conflict, me telling her exactly how I felt, of, like, I feel uncared for, I feel sad about it, I feel like you are not supporting me. I'm thinking that's innocent, and that's, like, vulnerable, because I think that's a very vulnerable thing to tell somebody, that you made me feel sad and uncared for. And for that to be received in a way that was, like, abrasive and rude and nasty, is like, oh, you didn't see that as innocent. You didn't see that as vulnerable. You seen that as me being vindictive in a way. And I don't understand how you get that from that. And what I've been realizing, like, not everybody think like me, and I can't expect everybody to think like me. And so I need to think about it in a way of, like, this is a gift to be able to see life through this lens. And I'm only offering my gift for those who want it. And I think people who have not been able to hold on to their innocence are not going to want it. Because I think you got to seek out, and, like, how we were talking about yearning and searching for love, I think you got to yearn and search for your innocence in that way. I think we're doing good to know we haven't been able to fully see and host with. Yeah. And I think when it comes to my sisters, I get it. Like, and then I think this is also the bittersweet part about, I guess, seeing from the lens of love, is that, like, I get why you see it that way, and I get why you're resentful. Some of the things my sisters had to do for me was not their responsibility. You had no responsibility of raising me in the ways that they have had to, but I'm also not the one you should be mad at. You should be mad at your mom and your daddy. And instead of telling me that I should be cool with them and I should, go along to get along, actually, y'all should be upset too, because they robbed you of your innocence. And you're mad at me because I kept mine when you still have the opportunity to get yours. But you won't give yourself permission because you think it's going to hurt their feelings. And that don't have nothing to do with me. And so it's such a bittersweet thing, I think, to operate in innocence and curiosity in that way, that like it's also very few people who actually still operate in it. And I do feel like I could see it on people though. And so, but I also think that has come with time of like now, oh, now I have the discernment to know who is safe and who still has their innocence. Because if I spot somebody out that don't have got it, I feel like I gotta go. I cannot entertain that. Or someone who don't even want it. Like I feel like I was just talking to my girlfriend about this yesterday about my ex. And I even how I was saying yesterday in the chat, like how we used to go to sleep holding hands. I think we were in a relationship for so long because our inner childs were in love with each other. It was like our trauma and our wounds that got in the way of our relationship. And he is just coming to a point where he's like, oh, I've lost my innocence. And it is just the timing of it all. It's like, I can't wait for you to reclaim that. Yeah, I feel the same. So I have two sisters, but I also have a brother. My brother cut us all off, girl, years ago. And when I think about my sisters now, I think like, oh shit, this is how we treated my brother. Of like, oh, he been seeing the patterns, but I don't think he reclaimed his innocence. He just is very mad about not having it. Um yeah. Yeah, Leisha Peaches. This is why I don't like. I'll talk about like my breakup, but I don't really bash my ex in a way. I think he's definitely a man, a nigga. But I think I was still able to see his innocence in a way, and I think that is what kept us together for so long. Cause we were together for 12 years. But and even now we still have a decent relationship. We I don't hate him, but he's just not safe. And so I had to, pack my things and go. But yeah. Let me see. How am I looping this? Cause I feel like I didn't got completely off subject. Um oh, the new moon and pattern recognition. I guess this all ties in together. How I even started the live, I was talking about I was meditating in this I was meditating this morning, and I kept hearing past life, present power, and how our past is what will activate our power now. It's a matter of will we choose to operate in our power instead of allowing our past to hunt us in a way, or provide more grief and continuously keep us in a cycle of repeating the same patterns and staying in the same cycles. And like, you do have a choice of like, okay, now you see the pattern, you could pivot. Now you could create a new pattern and interrupt it. And I think today is like a really powerful way to do that. So I think what I'm going to do at some point today, and I've done this before, and it always comes out really beautiful, is to write an epilogue for your life. So like if your life up until this point was a book, think about each chapter of your life and what would your epilogue be like if you were going to leave a snippet for readers who are reading your story. to say how it ends. Think 5 years from now, 10 years from now, of like you recreating the story. What would that look like? And like really mapping that out. And when I did it last time, I probably did it like 2 years ago. And it was just really beautiful. But I think I'm going to do it again today because I feel like now I have more insight of what I want to, yeah, I will. What I want to create going forward. And Carlissa, you've actually really been inspiring too, and like helping me in a way of dreaming up what I want to in terms of relationships, especially with women. I've talked about this too before, and like my breakup, it sent me on a journey of like decentering men and love and rethinking about how I perceive love. And that heavily interrupted my relationships with women. Of course, my sisters, my mom, female relationships. And I think just being a part of your community has shifted my lens of what's possible. Because I haven't had a tangible experience. Well, I won't say I haven't had a tangible experience of community in that way. No, I wouldn't. I feel like the few friends that I have left, we have a beautiful relationship, but I think to be in a community of women who are doing similar work of healing and reclaiming love for themselves, reclaiming their innocence, I think has been really beautiful, and really thinking about what do I want to experience. Like even you talking about Sedona and going on trips and like communing in that way, I just think is really beautiful. And it's given me an idea of what I feel like I want in my day-to-day life. So thank you. I'm happy we have crossed paths, and even like everybody, Leisha Pisha, Cozy Rosie, I feel like everybody has been really welcoming, and I think it's really affirming to be seen for who I know myself to be versus who the people around me. Like we've been having this conversation of the people who know you don't see you in that light. And I be having to check myself of like the reverse imposter syndrome, because I feel like imposter syndrome is thinking like I'm not who I'm presenting myself to be, or like a sense of worthiness, versus I feel like I know this to be who I am, but y'all trying to tell me I'm somebody different, and it's just like, I don't know. This is bringing a level of confusion that I don't feel like I need. So I feel like it's been deeply affirming for me, and even like how y'all see me, I think is affirming in that way. So thank you. I think that's it. I've been live before, but just like this, I just be feeling like I'm rambling. So thank y'all for tuning in. I may write a Substack about this too, so I'll share it. But I got a YouTube channel too, so I might post it on there too. But you're welcome. And Leisha Pisha, whenever you're ready to do a past life regression, I'm more than open to doing it. I've been doing them now for like 3 years now. 3 years now. how I started doing them is very random. I was gonna do a short little video about this of like how I have come to know myself so well and be like so centered in who I am has been through unusual means. Learning tarot and like my different tools of divination, I think is why I have such a good sense of self. And like I trust myself because I think in doing spiritual work you have to. Doing readings, especially for people you don't know, I gotta trust what come up. And so starting to do that work led me to be like, oh, wait a minute, I do know some shit. Or like some of the most random things come up in readings to where people be like, how would you possibly know that? And that's what really led me to like, I have to trust myself. I have to trust my gifts. And I'm starting to learn tarot. I swear the cards told me to go through my map phone. Yeah, they will tell you that. You know what? Tarot has taught me a lot about myself, not so much about my gifts. Because it has taught me how I receive messages. And it's given me symbolism in a way. So like now if I have a dream, I may have a dream and it's a tarot card in the dream and I'll know immediately what that dream means just based off of the tarot card. Tarot has taught me a lot about psychology. If you're learning tarot, let me grab this book. This is a really good, I don't have the cover on it, but Tarot for Change is a really good book for learning tarot because it talks about it from a psychology standpoint versus the woo-woo-ness. This is why I don't do readings anymore because I don't. Yeah, Tarot for Change is by Jessica Dorr. That's why I stopped doing readings, and that's what led me to do past life regression, because most people don't actually want clarity out of readings. They want answers, and I don't think you can get answers out of getting a reading. I can only give you clarity. So like I could give you a zoomed out picture and give you the landscape of what's happening, and so you can make a better informed decision about something. But I'm not going to tell you yes or no. I'm not going to tell you, yeah, that's your soulmate. I'm not going to tell you, yeah, quit your job. Now I can give you the full landscape so you can make a decision. But that's not what people be wanting. And so I stopped dabbling in tarot for those reasons, of like trying to do readings for people, because I noticed like people don't actually want to do the work. And that may change, I guess, eventually, but I think, what was I getting at with that? Tarot taught me more about myself than it did about other people. Because it taught me a lot about pattern recognition and like archetypes. And like the process of like transformation, the process of different mindsets, and how you move through different ways of developing and empowerment. I think tarot is a really great tool for gaining self-trust too. Also unusual way that I learned tarot, but this is also a fun way. When you listen to a song, or I guess even watch a movie, you know how it's a story that gets played out in the song or the movie. Pull cards to mirror the story that's being told out, because I think tarot is always going to tell a story. So that's how I learned too. That's how I learned the frequency of energy versus just the cards, because the cards are subjective. They're going to change based off of the story. So the full card is not always going to mean new leaps of faith. It's going to mean whatever it means in the process of the story. And that way I think I read tarot in a much different way than I think most people, but I think that was a fun, cute way to learn. So a lot of the things that I've learned have just been through self-trust. I don't really go through the regular means of learning stuff. Even how I started doing past life regressions. Thankfully, I have just had friends that trust me, I guess, and be like, girl, I trust you. You can try this shit out on me. Um, that's actually even how I started doing tarot for other people. Very random. A friend of mine was like, "You want to do a reading for me?" I'm like, "Girl, how do you even know I got cards?" But and I just started reading from there. But that's how I started doing past life regressions too. Because I also do like guided meditations. That's why I had offered that Carlissa at the Sedona retreat. That like I wouldn't mind doing a guided meditation. I have a lot on my YouTube. I used to do readings on YouTube, but I took them all down. So if you ever want to do a past life regression, I'm open to them. I don't really call them past life regressions anymore. I just say hypnotherapy. But I think I have a little imposter syndrome with calling them hypnotherapy as well. Because I'm not a therapist, but I don't know what other way to form that. Because I also don't like calling them past life regressions because not everybody regresses to a past life. But it's just a form of hypnosis. I'm excited about it too, especially the timing. October is good because it's not too hot. It won't be cold. You feel like hypnosis don't work on you? Why? Do you have trouble meditating? Yeah, people say they have a hard time meditating, but I don't think. See, with hypnosis or even meditation, it's not about focus. Most people feel like they can't meditate because they think they're supposed to be sitting in silence. And like, I think you get to a point where you reach a point of like stillness, but the point of meditation is to allow thoughts to come and not to dissect them. So like even how I said how this even came about of me hearing past life present power in my meditation, I don't hold on to like, okay, what does this mean in meditation? Whatever I hear or see or experience during meditation, I just allow it to flow. And then after I'm meditating, I'll go and journal like, this is what came up. What did this mean? And usually when I'm journaling, it is like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, you're just observing what comes up. So like, it's not about sitting in silence. And I think that's why most people have a hard time with it. But I also think it's because of not being able to regulate. That like sitting in silence feels uncomfortable. Sitting still feels uncomfortable. And you just have to build that muscle of like, whenever you feel like you want to move, take another 3 breaths and then say it again of like, I feel antsy, I feel anxious, but I'm tuning in to my breath. Yeah, I think the spiraling, if you just admit like, okay, I'm spiraling, I'm anxious, just acknowledge it. The more you acknowledge it, the less it's like in your face. And I think in this way, it's the same as like with pain. If you are in pain, say your back hurt or you got menstrual cramps or whatever, if you sit down, you breathe, you acknowledge, okay, I got cramps, okay, my back hurts, and really focus on that area and then really focus on your breath, eventually you're not even going to be thinking about that pain anymore. And really, I got into meditation when I had my last son. I had a water birth, and his birth was just really magical. But leading up to his birth, because I had him during COVID, so I knew I didn't want to go to the hospital. And he was the only child that I had unmedicated. So I was just like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I need all the tools that I can. And so I started to meditate and do breath work and do all the things. And I had him in 2 hours. I won't say it was painless, but it was very like easeful. And that really like, oh, this shit really worked. Because I was able to like manage my pain by meditating. So much so that like when we got to the birthing center and they said like, oh girl, it's time, you might as well go ahead and start pushing. In the car there, I'm thinking like, these contractions are coming pretty strong, but I'm sure I got another 4-5 hours to go. So like, let me just breathe through this. Like, this is not as bad as it's gonna get. And that's what's what helped me, is thinking that this is going to get worse. And that kind of helped me detach from the pain in a way. So I think meditation is not about focus. It's more about like observing it in a way. And I think the same with hypnosis, but also with hypnosis, you're being guided. And one of the ways that I guide people is eye movement. Is similar to if you've heard of EMDR therapy. It's pretty much the same. With EMDR therapy, they're putting you in a hypnotic state to help you recall certain memories so you can emotionally process. The same thing happens with hypnosis, because really you're just getting into like your theta state, like, which is just a relaxed state. And we go into kind of hypnosis all the time. Whenever you're daydreaming, whenever you're just scrolling, whenever you're about to fall asleep, you're in your theta state. And so it's impossible to say like you can't be hypnotized, because you're in a hypnotic state majority of the time, honestly, because we're only really conscious like in our daily habits and stuff. This is why it's so hard to change habits, is because we're only really conscious 10%. So that saying like we only use 10% of our brain, it's not that we only use 10% of our brain. We're only fully aware of our actions 10% of the time, because our subconscious really dictates our actions for the most part. So like, if every day at 10 o'clock you drink coffee, your brain is already pre-programmed to expect coffee at 10 tomorrow. And that's one way hypnosis helps, is that you could go into the like subconscious realm and like shift what your brain already feels like it knows. That movie, what's that cartoon? It's a kid movie, but it's about emotions. What is it? Where it's like the characters was like happy, sad, joy. That's a good way. That was a perfect depiction of how Inside Out. Especially I guess both. The second one, I think more so, because she was a teenager. So that really kind of shows how much we don't have control as adults. This is also why it's important to reclaim your innocence, because as a kid, you're programmable. And so that's really what my name Sacred Kismet means. Is Kismet is destiny or divine path, but I think we're born into our fate. So like our societal norms, our family dynamics, what it means to be a woman, all these things, we're born into that. And so we're fated to a certain type of life. But I think if you can do subconscious reprogramming and really reclaim what you want for your life and what you desire, which I also think is highly connected to our inner child, I think you shift into destiny. So like we don't choose our fate, but we become our destiny. And so I think the part that we lose as adults is thinking that we're just fated to have a certain experience, when you can heal the patterns that you were born into so that you can start choosing, which is what I've been talking about. The second about anxiety had. Yeah, I love how movies will depict reality, especially cartoons. Like that movie, Soul, was also really good in terms of like mediumship, and they did a good job of like describing it. And even like the underworld and stuff like that, they did a really good job describing that. But I think that goes back, like, kids know. I think this is why those movies go over adults' heads. Like, even my kids teach me a lot about reclaiming innocence too, because my kids are very inquisitive. Uh, and like the stuff they be talking about and asking me, especially my 10-year-old. I was just talking to my friend about that yesterday because she was listening to a talk where he was asking me a question, and she was like, he is so like thorough in how he asks stuff. I'm like, yeah, you would have a wonderful time talking to him because he is very deep. We call him the Oracle because, like, boy, how do you know this? But he's been like that way since he was born. But all of my kids are kind of big talkers in that way. But I think I'm gonna wrap it up because I'm just on my lunch break and I'm rambling. Thank you. I got a bunch of kids, y'all. I got 4. My oldest is 20. I was just thinking about this yesterday. Like, is he 19 or 20? He's 20. He lives in California. Yeah, I had him when I was 17. So he'll be 21 this year. A 20-year-old. Yeah, I got a 20-year-old, a 16-year-old. She'll be 17 this year. A 10-year-old and a 5-year-old. So I got 3 boys and 1 girl. Yeah, I've been mommying for forever. It feels like. Ah, thank you. Yeah, I know I look younger than. I don't be wanting to talk about that online because people be dragging people when they older but think they look younger than what they look. So I'm like, maybe I just think I look younger. I don't know, but I know a lot of people will be thinking I look younger than what I am, which I do think if you hold on to your innocence, you also look younger. Yeah, Gen Z do look old. And whatever Gen, I be losing track of all the Gen X, Gen Z, Gen Y, whatever. Well, whoever is in high school right now, they look old as hell too. Because I was just at my daughter's school last week. She had a dance program. And I'm like, ain't no way these kids should be built like this. And they had no kids, nothing. And it's like, I don't know. Like, kids don't look like kids no more. Even my daughter, like my daughter, she still looks young, but that's the diva of all divas. She go to school, face beat, hair done. I was like, I was not thinking about makeup and dressing like this at 16, but I love it for her. She's actually made me more girly too. Yeah, I think it's the hormones, and I think it's the hormones. I think it's technology. I couldn't imagine going to high school and having like Instagram and TikTok I feel like it would have been traumatic. No, they don't have an in-between. And I be having to check myself of like when my daughter started wearing lashes, and I'm gonna say she started wearing lashes probably like 8th, 9th grade. And I used to be like, no, you too young to wear lashes. But I had to start checking myself like, girl, they lashes, why not? Like, I shouldn't be getting in the way of her being a girl and learning that stuff now. Like, she went to homecoming, she did her own makeup. I'm like, do you want me to do your makeup? Because I used to be a makeup artist too. And she's like, no, I'm going to do my own makeup. She do her lashes. She do her own hair. She know how to braid hair. She got it going on. But I keep saying I'm going to get off here. I got to get back to work. Thank y'all for tuning in. I will do this more often. This was fun. But see y'all later. Bye.